The COVID-19 pandemic has wreaked havoc in the world of football. Even the world's richest clubs were badly hit with a huge loss in revenue. But how exactly has the pandemic influenced the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester United and Bayern Munich? Keep watching to find out about the current top 10 richest football clubs in the world. Good day, Kings! This video presents you with the most up-to-date numbers of the world's richest football clubs. The clubs are ranked by their revenue or turnover over the most recent financial year, according to their annual reports. The revenue basically includes all money that comes in. Especially for some of these clubs, the impact of the pandemic has left behind a huge financial hole. I will include a chart for an easy comparison at the very end of the video, so make sure to keep watching until then. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to become an actual king. Trust me, it works. Alright, let's start. Number 10. Tottenham FC with a revenue of 443 million euros. After reaching the Champions League final in 2019, the club got a huge financial boost that put it close to its Premier League competitors. The financial shortfall due to the pandemic could not have come at a worse time for the club from London. Since they just finished their new stadium and financed it with huge loans, the club's finances were already handicapped. Last season, the club even accumulated a loss of 77 million euros. This will make it even harder for Jose Mourinho to build a squad that can compete for the Premier League title. Also, I would like to add an honorary mention for Borussia Dortmund. The club's revenue only got a slight hit by the pandemic and they only missed the 10th spot by 1 million euros. Number 9. Chelsea FC with a revenue of 493 million euros. Abramovich's club actually hasn't released its financials for the last season, so the number is not impacted by the pandemic yet. Of course, this means that the number should be taken with a grain of salt, and the current number is likely around Tottenham's revenue. Anyway, due to its wealthy owner, the club has proven to have a lot of financial powder left to build a squad that can win the Premier League. With a transfer loss of almost 200 million euros in summer 2020 alone, Frank Lampard is pressured to turn the team into a title contender. I am convinced that Abramovich's deep pockets will make sure that Chelsea reaches the level of Liverpool and City in the next years. Though Chelsea FC is very rich, there are clubs that have double the revenue. Keep watching to find out about the massive income of Europe's richest clubs. Number 8. Manchester United at a revenue of 561 million euros. Even though United is still the third most valuable club in the world, behind the two Spanish giants, its revenue fell behind Europe's elite in the last years. The main reason for that is the lack of success ever since legendary Sir Alex Ferguson left the club in 2013. But as of recently, they are back on track. United legend Solskjaer got enough time and patience to build a strong team, and the club is finally reaping the rewards with players like Rashford and Fernandes continuously showing world-class performances. For Manchester United, another thing must be taken into account on the financial side. When the American Glazer family acquired the club in 2005, they mostly financed this through loans and then transferred these huge loans to the club. Due to this, United pays tens of millions for these loans every year, and in addition to that pays another 20 million in yearly dividends to the Glazer family. Number 7. Juventus FC at a revenue of 573 million euros. After not quite reaching the very top of Europe, Juventus have shown their ambition to win the Champions League in 2018 when they bought Cristiano Ronaldo on a 4-year contract. His first 2 seasons in the CL with Juventus were not very successful. Let's hope they will compete for the title this season. Though the club is traded on the Milan Stock Exchange, 64% of the club is owned by Exor NV, the fund of the Agnelli family. The family first bought Juventus in 1923, and through Exor they also own roughly 25% in both Fiat and Ferrari. With this massive amount of financial firepower, I am sure that Juventus will win the Champions League in the next years. Number 6. Liverpool FC with a revenue of 588 million euros. Just like Chelsea and the next two teams, Liverpool also haven't published their financials for the last season. Since Liverpool's revenue was roughly 30 million behind that of Juventus in the last season before the pandemic, Liverpool's current revenue is very certainly lower than that of Juventus as well, though we don't know that for sure yet. Anyway, this very popular club has finally reached Europe's finest again. After years of mediocrity, former Dortmund coach Jürgen Klopp steadily crafted a world-class team that barely has any weaknesses. They have proven their class when they won the Champions League in 2019 and the Premier League in 2020 in an unbeatable fashion. Though Liverpool does not have the unlimited reserves of some other clubs, they are willing to pay big bucks for important additions to the team. The signings of Alisson for 63 million and Van Dijk for 84 million were initially criticized as too expensive, but both significantly improved the quality of the squad and filled vital roles in Liverpool's recent successes. Number 5. Manchester City at a revenue of 590 million euros. This number again comes from the season before the pandemic, so City's current revenue is probably also behind that of Juventus FC. For this club, it doesn't matter, since City is owned by the filthy rich Mansour family from Abu Dhabi. Without any obligation to be profitable, the club has shown time and time again that they are willing to pay a lot of money to improve the squad. Domestically, this has brought the club to huge successes. Ever since 2012, City have won the Premier League an impressive 4 times. Because the club's main goal is to win the Champions League, legendary Pep Guardiola became their new manager in 2016. Though he has brought the team on a whole new level in the league, the main target of winning the Champions League has not yet been achieved. I am sure the Mansour family will keep providing Guardiola with everything he needs to compete for the European crown. Number 4. Paris Saint-Germain at a revenue of 636 million euros. This number again comes from the season before the pandemic, but in all likelihood, the French club will still be the 4th richest club in the world once they publish their new financials. Paris Saint-Germain sit in the same boat as Manchester City, even though they are one level above their domestic competitors with 7 league titles in the last 8 seasons. They have not yet managed to reach their main goal of winning the Champions League, and the club's owners from Qatar are willing to spend every sum to become the best club in Europe. Pressure is very high at PSG, which was proven once again by the firing of Thomas Tuchel, who was the first manager that reached the Champions League finals with the club. Anyway, the club needs to win the Champions League fast. According to rumors, Mbappé wants to fulfill his dream of joining Real Madrid as soon as possible. Number 3. FC Bayern Munich with a revenue of 698 million euros. Bayern and the next 2 clubs are on a level of their own financially. Not only does FC Bayern have a very high revenue, but they also place a high priority on being financially healthy and maintaining a healthy salary structure. This was famously shown when Toni Kroos's salary demands were refused, so that he was able to join Real Madrid for just 25 million back in 2014. Even if Bayern's conservative spending policy means that they will never buy stars on the level of Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar or Mbappé, it has proven to be a recipe for success. With a traditionally very balanced squad, FC Bayern have won the last 8 Bundesliga seasons and 2 Champions League titles during that time. Funnily, the final trigger for Bayern's current success was probably Klopp's intense Dortmund side, which convincingly beat Bayern and won the Bundesliga 2 seasons in a row. After some embarrassing losses against Dortmund, Bayern finally opened its huge treasury in 2012 and built a team that has been a contender for the Champions League ever since. Number 2. Real Madrid at a revenue of 715 million euros. Very similar to Bayern, Real has been a club that is run very well, for example by refusing to do the very big transfers and by having a healthy salary structure. This is a stark contrast to the Galactico era of the early 2000s, when Real Madrid fielded very expensive superstars like Figo, Zidane, Brazilian Ronaldo, Beckham, Raúl, Roberto Carlos and more. Still, especially with Zidane, the club has been the undisputed king of Europe from 2014 to 2018, winning 4 out of 5 Champions League titles. The likes of Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain can only dream about this unbelievable amount of international success. After Cristiano Ronaldo left in 2018, he left behind a hole that is seemingly incredible to close. There is simply no easy way to replace his usual goal output of roughly 60 goals a season. Due to this, Real has only reached the round of 16 in the Champions League without CR7. Let's hope Real will be able to reach Europe's very best again soon, possibly by getting Mbappé. And finally, number 1, FC Barcelona with a revenue of 855 million euros. Even though Barcelona is still over 140 million ahead of Real Madrid, the pandemic has has put the club into a very precarious financial situation. Without the pandemic, the club's management planned with a record-breaking revenue of over 1 billion euros. And frankly, the club's financials are so badly managed that the pandemic has left behind a huge hole. Messi alone earns roughly 92 million US dollars a year. Griezmann earns 32 million, De Jong earns 20 million, and even Umtiti and Dembele, who are both injured most of the time, earn roughly 12 million a year. Also, keep in mind that Spanish salaries are usually reported after taxes, so the club actually pays double these values. Barcelona has invested a lot of money into players that do not fit their system, and as a result, the team's quality has deteriorated year after year. Barcelona last won the Champions League in 2015, and as it currently stands, they will have to fight very hard to even reach the Champions League. To make matters even worse, Messi has declared his desire to leave the club. Messi often carried the team to wins all by himself, so the new management will have a lot of work to do to rebuild the team in the coming years. As you see, the pandemic has hurt every one of Europe's richest clubs. It is interesting to see the differences between clubs though. Barcelona's financials were already strained before the pandemic, and the club now desperately has to cut expenses to even stay alive. In contrast, the likes of Bayern and Real had a healthy salary structure, and due to this, the missing revenue has not hit them as hard. Thanks for watching our video. As promised, you can now see the chart for an easy comparison between Europe's richest clubs. The gap between number 10 and number 1 is crazy, right? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to become an actual king. Trust me, it works. Also, let us know in the comments what you think about the current state and the future of Europe's richest clubs. Which club was hit the worst by the pandemic? Which club will come out ahead?